As we are running out of time, Dora, we don't want to keep you long. So, Dora, welcome. Thank you for taking this and being close to the athletes and sharing your knowledge as part being an athlete. So please, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Noha. Thank you so much for having me. It's so nice to see a lot of gymnasts and as well as coaches attending this webinar. And hopefully you get some, well, we already know you get some really important information. Let me share my screen. Okay, so perfect. I try to be brief and a little bit more practical and engaged. Let's see how it will work. So we all know that the topic of anti-doping is really complex. It's very difficult to understand for the athletes and then coaches and all athlete support personnel, but I will try to share the most important informations you need to know before a competition or during your athlete career. So today work plan is we are going to start with a warm-up, then a few words about me and my background. Then I will talk about WADA, what we are exactly doing. Then we go to the testing procedures, anti-doping rule violations, prohibited list just a little bit, then supplements, which might be very important for you nowadays, and a little bit of unintentional doping where you can break the rules unintentionally, you can test positive or in any other ways, just to mention. Let me start with a scenario, and it's a real case actually running. We are talking about a very experienced Olympic athlete. She got a sunburned lips on a training camp and obviously directly contacted her team doctor and asked for a treatment. The team doctor bought this medication, which you can see on the screen, in the pharmacy. Gave it to the athlete without checking the label. And the athlete did not check either what she's going to put on her lips. So what happened after? The athlete tested positive for a substance. You can see the clostebol, which is prohibited at all times. It's very important to know. You will see that there are substances which are prohibited only on competition or at all time. So what do you think what happened? The athlete was not sanctioned. The athlete was given a public warning. The athlete was banned from all sport for 3 months or for 2 years, so like 18 months. And unfortunately, that's the last one. So you can see how serious WADA is taking this, even if it was not really her mistake. And why I was sharing with you that as an athlete, you have to be conscious that the strict liability principle applies to you. What does it mean? The athlete is the only one responsible for everything they use and that is found in their body, regardless of whether there was an intention to cheat or not. So you might feel uncomfortable or you don't really think that it's fair, but honestly, you are the last one and the only one who's responsible, and you have to check everything, at least medication, and you really have to do everything as you just can to be on a safe place. Few words about me, and as Noah mentioned, I was an athlete. I used to compete in aerobic gymnastics for so many years. I was a world and European champion as well, silver and bronze medalist on the World Games. After my retirement in sport, I started to work as an athlete's representative in FIG, in the Gymnastics Federation, and I was there for 8 years, so my mandate is over now. And it was a good transition from FIG to the WADA Athlete Council. I got successfully elected as one of the member, and also sitting as an athlete's voice in the education committee. Beside that, I try to educate the athletes. I try to use my knowledge and, of course, my experience and the knowledge what is already set by the rules to raise awareness and help for the athletes, because it's always something different if an athlete is telling to the athletes we all went through the same way the same thing, and it's really important to help each other. Just few words about the history of WADA, because I got the question so many times like, WADA was knocking on my door and you came to test us. Actually, WADA is not really testing. If you see, WADA is the global regulator of anti-doping, leading a collaborative worldwide movement for doping-free sport, develop and harmonize and coordinate anti-doping rules and policies across all sport and country. So the main word is harmonization, and like WADA is more like we are writing the rules, and that's why the first code, like WADA Code of Points, was developed in 2003. And the reason why WADA was born is that one big scandal in 98, the Festina scandal in cycling. And then IOC felt like the field of sport has to take some actions. And that's how the Lausanne Declaration on Doping in Sport came, and that's how WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, was born. The headquarters was originally in Lausanne, and then in 2022 they moved to Canada, to Montreal. What I also would like to mention is WADA is a totally athlete-centered organization. It's not just like a clique, okay? We have this, like we had athlete engagement, but actually they really care about our voice and the feedbacks of the athletes, because you are still the one who's are suffering of the consequences, or you're still the one experiencing the things on the other side. And as you can see, WADA Athlete Council members, including mine as well, including me as well, in many standing committees, we are sitting, helping to get these connections between committees, such as education, contamination working group, in an unintentional task force. So it's like a huge organization. Then frequent consultations with the athletes, such as code review process. Now the new code of points is coming up. Also, we have so many surveys where we would like to know your experience and feedbacks about several things. And then, which you might, who was at the Olympic Games, you might meet with us and also with me, because I was wondering if I can ask myself on that turn when gymnastics, when rhythmic gymnastics is on, so I can see you all, and I was really happy because also so many rhythmic gymnasts visited our booth or was around. So we are also there as an engagement team on the major events. WADA's biggest mission now, that we would like to educate from playground to podium. And that's why today I'm also here, because there are many junior athletes might have the first experience with anti-doping, or you will have your first test on the next week, who knows. So the athlete first experience with anti-doping should be through education rather than doping control. Then it would be great to see all of you on the screen with a waving your hand. But my question is that have you ever been tested? And I assume as I check the names, there are a lot of young athletes still who might not be tested ever. So I have like a short clip to show you how is it going. Which is really important to know for the athletes that during the doping control, you have responsibilities, but you also have rights. Let's go into them. So your responsibility is report for testing immediately once notified. Show valid identification, such as passport, ID, or a copy of them. Remain in direct sign of the doping control officer or chaperone. Comply with the sample collection procedure. And then about your rights, because that's something which you might don't know, like all. Have a representative with you, like you're also able to have it when you're a senior athlete, but as a minor athlete under 18, it's compulsory to have a representative with you during doping control. Request an interpreter if available, if language is a problem. Ask for chaperones or DCO, doping control officer's identification, just to be sure he or she really exists. Ask any questions. Request special assistance or modification for valid reason. Record any comments or concerns on the form. Or request a delay for valid reasons. Let's see what reasons you can request for a delay. Attending a victory ceremony, finishing a training session or competing in further events, receiving necessary medical attention, fulfilling media commitment, or warming down. Let's move into anti-doping rule violations. Okay, there you can see a lot of words, but I'm going to be brief. The most important to know is that you can break the rules in so many ways, unfortunately. That's not just testing positive or not be there in a certain time. Okay, but there are unfortunately 11 ways to break the rules. The first four, what you can see on the screen, applies only to the athletes. And then the from 5 to 11 also applies to the athletes plus athlete support personnel, coaches, medicals, anybody else around the athlete. Just to make it more understandable, I brought you a clip.
The Sport Integrity Commission presents the anti-doping rule violations, starring these guys. Oh, no, careful. He's got it. Oh, he's dropped it. Also starring this guy. All right, let's begin. There can be no presence of a prohibited substance or its metabolites or markers in an athlete's sample. You cannot use or attempt to use a prohibited substance or method. You cannot evade doping control, hide from them, or refuse to provide a sample. Registered testing pool athletes, you need to be where you say you will be so the testers can find you. Athletes or any other person cannot tamper with any part of the doping control process. You can't have a prohibited substance or method in your possession. You can't sell or provide a prohibited substance or method to other people. You can't administer or attempt to administer a prohibited substance or method. You can't hide, help, or attempt to cover up a doping violation. You can't knowingly associate in a sporting capacity with someone who has been banned from sport due to an anti-doping rule violation. You cannot discourage or retaliate against somebody for reporting suspicious behavior. So there you go. Don't play with your health or reputation. Play the game. Oh, he's caught it this time. Oh no, he's dropped it again. Nice smile though.
I'm just receiving positive feedback and they cannot believe that the girl tested positive from a cream on her lips and they cannot believe and they said,
and
no way,
yeah.
and they were freaking out, and it's a good example that you posted for them to see that they have to check.
Yes, unfortunately, we have more and more cases, and as the laboratories are getting better, so that's why, like those cases are just coming up, and we need to be aware, which also creates an anxiety. But on the other hand, if we can manage, then also at WADA side, if they can manage, it will be fine. Okay, I jump the video. You can check the ADRVs because if it's heavy, then everything will be freezed again.
Okay.
I'm going to move to the prohibited list, which might be familiar for you, all the athletes. At least you heard about it once. This includes substances and methods that are prohibited in sport. And as I mentioned before, when? Prohibited at all times, so don't take it at all, or prohibited only during in competition, so only in competition period you cannot take them, or prohibited only in particular sports such as beta blockers in shooting, which like calm you down and the heart rates and everything. And athletes must know that the prohibited list updated at least annually. So every year check again and again and again after 1st of January, because there are always some small changes. So it's better to be aware. Here is the QR code for the prohibited list, but also it's very easy to find if you just put into Google. Check all the medication before you use. I'm sure you also heard about this sentence so many times. How we can check, which is the kind of best way. Ask a doctor or pharmacist who is familiar with the prohibited list, not the one in the very beginning. Okay? Check with your national anti-doping organization if you have. Use a reliable online resources such as Global Draw. And I love Global Draw because it's quite easy. And we will check it together on the next slide, okay? The athlete is 100% responsible for everything they use and that is found in their body. Don't forget it, please. As I mentioned before, let's try to do it together, okay? You can see a QR code if you have your phone with you. If not, then please start to type. You can go to globaldraw.com. And there you can select, obviously, that you're an athlete or coach. You can select the sport gymnastics. And just to be the easiest way, now select United States as your country. Because there are some others, and if you put others, then it goes to your own national anti-doping organization, which might be different what we need now. Okay, if you have Global Draw, you can see two very, very, very similar products. Okay, my question is, which one would you use on a competition day? Which is the first thing you check if you have these two next to each other, for example? Okay, you start to check the label, okay, the ingredients, the substances inside. Lev-methamphetamine or menthol. Okay, please start to type this really long substance into Global Draw. As well as you can check menthol as well. Okay, at Global Draw, it's quite easy because the moment you start to type and you have the first 3, 4, 5 letters, then it automatically shows you the options. I just hope somebody is doing. Okay, and then what you can see in Global Draw is like this. Very clear pictures. Okay, the thing I want to mention that what does in competition means. Okay, the period commencing at 11:59 p.m. local time on the day before a competition in which the athlete is scheduled to participate through the end of such a competition and the sample collection process related to such a competition. Okay, so the first product is prohibited in competition. You can use it out of competition, but also count on the time which the substances still can be in your body. The other one also, it seems okay, menthol, not so dangerous, not prohibited and not prohibited at all times. So if we go back to the pictures, which one about the decision making, which one you would use on a competition day? Obviously, the second one. In case you need a medication or a treatment which is on the prohibited list, the substance is on the prohibited list, you can always apply for therapeutic use exemptions called TUE. This is also with valid reason and if strict conditions are met, which gives them a permission to use it within the context of sport regulations. Okay, you can apply to ITA, that's the QR code, if you really need a medication for asthma, for any injuries, like quickly you got injured, the doctor is thinking about steroids, then you check the substance, but it's really needed, then this is the process you have to follow. The TUE process avoid risk of sanctions due a positive test, okay? But don't play with TUE. Then I jump into the supplement use. Okay, I was an athlete coming from a aesthetic sport. We all know in the past this positive image and safeguarding we didn't really have. So let's be fair, the past is not so bright, but the future will be so much better if we educate people like this during this webinar. Okay, so gymnasts, especially in gymnastics and every artistic aesthetic sport, are very vulnerable of supplement use. Scale is our best friend, as I had to check every time. Then we were always on a diet or not eating enough, not eating well. You can always, you were, like people were telling, okay, you have to be slim, but at the same time you have to be strong. So it's also very difficult to find the balance. Lack of professional nutritionists. I'm coming from a non-Olympic sport, which is even more sensitive because we don't have financial support. So basically, no nutritionists. So there are many athletes like this, and I'm sure also in other disciplines they are facing the same problem. Replace food with supplements like okay, I cannot eat my dinner, but I'm still really hungry. So I replace my meal with supplements. And we have to mention also the market is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and everybody is on social media. Like all the influencers are pushing and advertising a lot of supplements. So those are that's my personal experience from the past. Okay, when I was competing, which was like 10 years ago almost. I admit, especially that now I know all the things, that I was a potential risk in the anti-doping system because I was not enough careful with the supplement use. That's why early education of these things are super important. So what can be the risk of supplements? Contamination or mislabeling. Contamination is that by mistake, some prohibited substance end up in the container. And mislabeling is that, like, for example, they don't really show the prohibited substance on the label. So inadvertent ingestion of prohibited substance, as well as they can have health risk. Testing of supplements has shown some to contain heavy metals or toxics. Okay. Just to remember again, no supplements are 100% risk-free. But how to do it well? You already heard about it, okay? Dr. Peter was like perfect explaining everything. So consider a food first approach is really important to navigate in this complex system. And how we can manage the supplement risk if you really need to take supplements and to reduce the risk, how we can do that, okay? The athlete receives expert advice based on their individual needs. So visit a nutritionist, working with a doctor, they exactly know what she needs. Please be careful and do that. The supplement is taken in the right dosage, or the supplement has good evidence of benefit to health and or performance. Okay, I don't take something just because it's fashionable. It's when you really need it, then with the consultation of ASPs, you can do it. I would not say risk-free, but still with the lower risk. Okay, and if you have a chance, always try to purchase batch tested products. There are also several websites where you can check your supplements. It's still not perfect because there are lots of supplements, so it's impossible to regulate at this moment the system. But let's see, maybe in 10 years it will be better. Practical advice from me. Get informed and use reliable sources, such as the website, the batch tested website. If you do not have any access to certificate nutritionist, conduct a self-assessment. You can check everything on the label. If you decide that the benefits of using supplements outweigh the risk, choose products that have been tested. Keep the original supplement packaging or a photo of it, okay? Like at least the number of the supplement, because in case you test positive, it can help you a lot to prove that you didn't take that supplement. It was by mistake in your protein powder, for example. Okay, so at least to know which like under which number it was, or if you purchase like two from the same at the same time, it's even better. For example, one you eat and the other one just stay in case. And one other very important thing is that always mention supplement taken on the doping control form. Okay, on the doping control form, there is like a bracket where you can write down what did you take in the last 2 weeks, I guess. But it's better if you mention everything. Then our last topic for today, I mentioned the unintentional doping, how big deal is like nowadays, and now we are talking about many different topics such as contamination, whereabout failure, like partners contact. You might heard a lot of stories like skin to skin contact. Even you can test positive by like skin to skin contact. For example, if you kiss somebody who took a prohibited substance. So the risks are real, and unintentional doping remains a significant challenge in the protection of clean sport. And that's why WADA is taking the time, money, and everything, resources to help to navigate and to find a solution how we can reuse all these cases. Because of that, we set up a call for contribution. You can see the QR code. You can see the QR code on a screen. And I would kindly ask you to fill up this survey. Okay, you can find it in many different languages, like at least 5. If you go and then you scroll down a little bit, and then it says like tell your own experience. There is a survey appears with a survey monkey, and it's like 5 minutes. Okay, so after the presentation, I would really appreciate if you could help for us, and that's how we can start really working from the athletes' feedback, from the reality, what they can face or what they experienced. If you have any questions, but maybe better, like you can see all of my email, WhatsApp, Instagram. I'm a really open person. You will never disturb me in any questions about anti-doping matters. Okay, so feel free if you feel like lost in the system, just drop me a message on Instagram or wherever. And it was a pleasure to be here and sharing a little bit of this complex system for the athletes. And good luck. That's the most important.
Thank you, Dora, very much. It was really a very interesting presentation. And I learned myself, and I searched with you on the globaldraw.com as a parent, as an athlete, as a coach. And it's very interesting. And I wanted to ask you, do they have updated every year so the gymnast can know? Is it
Yes,
updated with the WADA substances
yes,
every year, as you said, January?
yes.
So
1st of
search
January, they
again
always update.
on the
Mhm.
globaldraw.com.
I
Whenever
hope.
they're afraid, they can check
Yes,
quickly. So it is updated. So girls,
yes, yes, must be.
you can be very appreciative for this information that Dora shared with us. This is very, really helpful for you. You can always share and not to be tested positive like the burnt girl athlete with the sunburn from the doctor. So you can search whenever you are doubting. I could also see many senior and junior athletes who are taking part, because I know some of the names and some of them whom you shared their photos with you. So I think they also were here, and thank you very much for joining us. It's really very interesting information. And thank you for Donna, for Dr. Peter, for Dora, for this webinar. It was a very, very, very informative, educative webinar for everyone. And we hope we repeat it again by the end of the year for the coaches, because also the coaches need to receive the same information. But first, we started by our young generation, our athletes, who are our main goal. And we need to come together because of the ways to learn. Because as Dora said, when we were playing, it was different. We did not receive such kind of education. Time evolves, social media evolves, technology evolves, and so we must do also with you. And you are our future, and we work for you. Thank you so much for such a beneficial webinar, and see you soon in your future endeavors.